wanted to make a comment on Khabib Nurmagomedov. I don't know the exact last name. My apologies. Who can beat Khabib? Well, first of all, a lot of the people that they've matched him up against, they're strikers. Yeah, sure, they can, they can defend themselves, but they're predominantly strikers. Okay, why can't that it was all Conor McGregor? Conor McGregor's a striker. Conor McGregor is not a grappler. Yes, he has good takedown defense, and I'm sure he knows how to defend himself, and I'm sure he knows submissions. But if you see his losses, they're against people who are very advanced grapplers or submission specialists. Nate Diaz is a black belt jiu-jitsu. Khabib, a lot of people don't go into looking and to what his strength is. Khabib is a Sambo specialist, Russian Sambo champion. Okay, what is Russian Sambo? Go look it up. Sambo is a Russian submission art, and it had striking too, a lot of striking. He's a combat Sambo specialist. Oleg Taktarov was a Sambo specialist. Look him up. Oleg Taktarov, one of the pioneers of mixed martial arts. And that's why they do so well in submission, because that's their specialty. Sambo is the Russian counterpart to jiu-jitsu, Brazilian jiu-jitsu. Now, you got to understand why combat Sambo experts are so successful. Because if you look at Russian history, Russians have been fighting most of their existence as Russians. Everybody tried to fuck with Russia, so they had to learn how to defend themselves hand to hand. All throughout history, they've been attacked by everybody. They say, as soon as somebody gets power, it's like, let's go fuck with Russia. Russia's like, okay, here we go again. Napoleon, Hitler, everybody fuck with them. And they fuck with everybody, too. So they had to, it's been a very violent history, the history of Russia. So they had to learn how to defend themselves. They developed their own martial arts. If you look at the special forces, what they use now, it's called Sistema. The Sistema martial art is not for contest. It's not for competition. Sistema is for killing. Sistema, the Sistema martial art is for fighting tired, for fighting on dirty, and all those things. It's for combat. It's for killing. That's what Sistema is for. And they're very unconventional. Their movements are very fluid and unconventional. It's like, this thing can't hurt me. This thing will kill you. That's what Sistema does. That's why you don't see Sistema competitions, because they don't. Well, if you scale that to competition, and if you look at why some of the martial arts that were touted as deadly are not winning in mixed martial arts, is because a lot of the strikes, well, first of all, they're a lot like Hoist Gracie. When they interviewed him, say, why are you guys so successful? Say, because we apply to the street. Most fights in the street, they end up on the ground. So that's where they excel, on the ground. So a lot of the martial arts, when they go into the UFC, you see that they're not successful. They get their ass kicked. The strictly kung fu stuff, they get their ass kicked. Why? Because they're not allowed to use the stuff that makes kung fu deadly. the pressure point strike, the dim mock, all the stuff that's pressure point. You can't hit pressure points. You can't. Now, why does Aikido suck when Aikido practitioners go into the octagon? They get their asses kicked because a lot of them, they use small joint manipulation, and those are illegal. You can't take somebody's finger and twist it, or a wrist and twist it. It's illegal. You can't do pressure point strikes from other martial arts. It's illegal. You can't go with an elbow down. It's illegal. That's a lot of that stuff is what makes some of this martial arts deadly. So why is Khabib being so successful? If you look at who he's been fighting, a lot of the people he fights are not as good grapplers as he is, submission specialists. And I would like to see him fight somebody who's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt that has good striking skills, or another combat sambo champion like he was. I think the last time he lost he was like 15 years old, and it was another combat sambo champion that beat him. So who can beat him? Who can beat Khabib? And people gonna call me crazy, but if Ben Askren ever decides to stop fucking around and lose some weight and go down there, he can. I don't think he can go down to 155, maybe, who knows, 15 pounds. He's at 170 or something like that. Go down to 155, and I think Ben Askren has the talent grappling, not striking. Now, he just got knocked the fuck out by Jorge Masvidal. Now, Jorge Masvidal, he waited for him, and he got arrogant with Jorge Masvidal. And he went straight for a fucking shot and a fucking double leg. And Masvidal was been practicing for that with a knee, knocked him out in 9 seconds, some shit like that, or 5 seconds, because he was fucking telegraphed it all the way down. He said, well, he thought maybe he's like, oh, well, maybe I can, he's not. I'll be able to just go grab him. That's stupid. Yeah, motherfucker. This guy's been fighting forever, waiting for people to try that on him, and he got stupid and he got knocked the fuck out. Rightfully so. He got arrogant. But you need somebody from an American wrestling, freestyle wrestling can beat him. Somebody with the talent that Ben Askren has. Somebody with that type of talent and that type of training, grappling training, American freestyle training, like Ben Askren style. Somebody who has that style can beat him. Somebody who's a consummate jiu-jitsu specialist can beat him. Renato Laranje, somebody who's that type of talent. Renato Laranje, look him up. He's an asshole, but he's 27-time world champion jiu-jitsu. It has to be somebody with that type of grappling talent and training to beat him. The guys who there was a guy, I'm talking about styles. So who's got that talent out there? We have to go look back to basics in the Greco-Roman styles. Pancration, somebody from Pancration can beat him. Look him up, Pancration. You have to go to somebody who's an expert in grappling. Those styles are the ones that are going to give him problems. So it's going to be Sambo. It's going to be Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. It's going to be, American freestyle wrestling, Greco-Roman, like, old school. So, so they keep throwing strikers at him. And of course, he's going to look good with strikers. So who's next? Tony Ferguson can actually beat this guy. Because Tony Ferguson is really evolved, and this guy is a geek, is an absolute geek of martial arts and mixed martial arts. And I think Tony Ferguson has an actual shot of beating him. Other than Tony Ferguson, it's going to have to be one of these guys that eats and breathes and lives jiu-jitsu. It's going to be a Brazilian. It's going to be a Russian. It's going to be one of those Japanese guys that beat the jiu-jitsu people, Brazilian jiu-jitsu people. Because remember, the jiu-jitsu people, the Brazilian guys, Mr. Enzo, back in the day, he traded work for training for jiu-jitsu, and he customized it into a Brazilian street fighting thing. So it's going to be a Brazilian, it's going to be a Japanese, it's going to be a Russian, it's going to be an American, and maybe a Greek guy who's a pancration specialist. So that's who can beat Khabib. So stop throwing strikers at him. He's going to chew through them all day long.